Hola mis amores, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your positive responses, for your sharing, for your comments on my previous video that I did on how to answer history questions grade 8 and grade 9 basing it on Namibian history. And today we're back with another history lesson. I took to Facebook to ask which history lesson did you want me to concentrate on, and some of you came through and you said you wanted me to concentrate on the ODENDAAL plan. We know due to COVID-19, people are restricted and cannot attend school physically, and so teachers are asked to give e-learning lessons. And today I'll be doing my part by giving you a round-up, very brief history of the ODENDAAL plan. Very quick history: the United Party of the National Party of South Africa won the elections in 1948, which meant that they could now govern South Africa as well as Namibia. As we know, Namibia became a mandate of South Africa after the very First World War, when it was given that legal right by the League of Nations in 1920. So today we'll be looking at the ODENDAAL. How did the ODENDAAL plan come about? So when South Africa won the elections in 1948, they introduced what was known as apartheid. Apartheid is an Afrikaans word which means separateness. They wanted to govern the people of South Africa as well as the people of Namibia according to their races. Now let's get into today's lesson, the ODENDAAL plan. Now, South Africa appointed Mr. Hendrik Fox-Verwoerd as the commissioner to Southwest Africa by that time. So his role was actually to come out with a plan on how to run this country called Namibia. So in September 1962, the ODENDAAL Commission, or as most people know it as the ODENDAAL plan, was put into action. But what was the reason for this plan? Students should know that the ODENDAAL plan had both economic as well as political recommendations. So what I'll be doing, I'll be giving you the political as well as the economical, and also just look at the reason why this ODENDAAL plan was not so much of a success. Now, the main reason of the ODENDAAL plan, as they said, was that it was to bring about economic development to Namibia, and in actual terms, it was not really the case. Let's get into the political recommendation of the ODENDAAL plan. One of the recommendations was that Namibia had to be divided into 10 Bantustans, or 10 homelands, from Caprivi all the way to the southern part of Namibia. What I will do, I will put a picture of all the 10 homelands that were introduced to Namibia. This was not only introduced to Namibia, but these homelands already started in South Africa. What they did, they transferred the same system to Namibia. The reason for the homelands, according to the administrators of the South African government, Namibia at the time, said that it was to bring about economic development to each homeland. But in actual terms, they feared that a united Namibia would actually cause so much conflict, and that they might want to gang up against the South African administration. So what they did, they divided the people into 10 homelands, that if you're from this specific homeland, you cannot visit another homeland without permission. Which then reminds me of what is going on right now in Namibia. Due to COVID-19, Namibia has been divided into 10 different zones. The reason for these zones is to stop the spreading of COVID-19. It is not economical, it is not political. This was a health decision that had to be taken in order for COVID-19 to be spread through different regions, hence making the different zones. But when it comes back to the ODENDAAL plan, they said that the reason for these homelands was to bring economic development into these homelands. Another political recommendation of the homeland was that the land that was allocated to the Namibians was not so fertile. It was very barren. People could not really produce crops. They could not really invest in their crops because this land was very barren. It was about 40% of this Namibian land was given to the Namibians, and 3.5 million hectares of land, which is 60% of this land, was given to the white owners of Namibia, or the whites of Namibia, and this was good fertile land. Now the place, or the homelands that were given to Namibians, as I've said before, they were not at all fertile. So what they had to do, they were expected to invest in their land. They had to do, agricultural farming, scientific farming, which would then allow them to have access in their crops, which could lead them to sell and develop themselves. But unfortunately, that was not the case, because a lot of Namibians did not have a lot of livestock. They were poor, so they could not even afford to buy some of the equipment that was necessary. They could not afford to even take out credit with the public or private. So it was not easy for them. The colours of Namibia were not allocated land, because these people, you know, it was very hard to classify them or where to put them. So they were allowed to live in Walvis Bay, in Windhoek, in Lüderitz. So they could have land in all these areas, but they could not really have land in Swakopmund, because that was deemed as white people's area. What students should know is that the economic as well as the political recommendations were totally different. When we talk about political recommendations, we are talking about what Namibians lost as a result of this recommendation. We talk about the economic recommendation, we talk about what Namibians actually gained as a result of these recommendations. Of course, the dental plan was not all bad. There were some positive aspects of ODENDAAL plan. So we're going to look now into what were these economic recommendations of the ODENDAAL plan. First of all, the hydroelectric power station in Kunene was opened, whereby it supplied power to Namibia, to different parts of the country. We also talk about piped water was also made available to Vambaland. We also look into the gravel roads. The gravel roads actually upgraded. They were now having third road throughout the whole of Namibia, especially main roads were tarred as a result of the ODENDAAL plan. Another positive aspect of the ODENDAAL plan was the Bantu Investment Corporation. The Bantu Investment Corporation really gave a platform for small and medium business owners or enterprises, where they could actually be given loans. Loans were given to entrepreneurs, artisans, farmers, in order for them to actually invest in their businesses, for them to be able to make profit. When it comes to educational and health facilities, the ODENDAAL plan did not leave that out, because the Agustinium as well as the Commersdal Teacher Training Center was built in Windhoek, which could then train Namibians to become teachers, as well as in Ongwediva. The Ongwediva College was also established for teachers in the north to receive training. When it comes to the health sector, the Windhoek Central Hospital was opened to cater to the health issues of Namibians, as well as different clinics were established in the different homelands. The positive aspect of the ODENDAAL plan when it comes to economy was that mines were actually opened. Mines were opened in Tsumeb, in Swakopmund. This meant that Namibians could finally get jobs, and they would be able to gain a little bit of income to support their families. A canning factory is also opened in Oshakati, and that meant employment was given to Namibians, as well as in Walvis Bay for the fishing sectors. Namibians were given jobs to work as fish workers to work as fishers in Walvis Bay. Now, what were some of the weaknesses of the ODENDAAL plan? When it comes to the political as well as the economical, would have to be the self-governance was not so much of a beneficiary. What happened was this, that Namibia was not developing as a whole. This was the reason was that development was taking place in some part of the country. For example, in the northern part of the country, they were able to develop themselves more compared to the southern people or people in southern Namibia, because they do not have the facilities nor the human resource to be able to carry out their development in their homelands. And also this just brought so much competition between the Namibians. This is what the ODENDAAL plan wanted. They wanted Namibians to be divided, and now the division was coming because of this economy. Because of the economy, that northern part of the country was more developed and the southern part of the country was yet less developed, which brought about a little bit of conflict. What the South Africans actually wanted to do was that they wanted to create so much division, by providing this money, by the homeland. This was like a thought out plan, and what they actually wanted was that they wanted to create a social wealth club or group of Namibians who were either farmers, who were teachers, who were doctors, who were nurses, They wanted the wealthy Namibians to be grouped and to be decided so that they could actually fund campaigns against political organizations such as SWAPO that were opposing the governance of South Africa. But that did not work out well, because at the end of the day, we do know that the Namibians actually helped, and the Namibians were resisting and they were fighting against the colonial oppression. That brings us to the lesson of the ODENDAAL plan. I hope that you learned something from this lesson, and I hope that you now know the advantages as well as the disadvantages of both political and economical recommendations of the ODENDAAL plan, and what actually transpired in these recommendations. And what I would like you to do is, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, do share this video, do comment on it, let everybody know that you don't have to be confined in a four-wall classroom when you have me giving you these lessons. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please do follow me up on Instagram as well as in Twitter. But most important, if there's any topic that you would want me to tackle, don't shy away, because I'm here to help you get those good grades. From Message is adios, mis amores.